Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, the spin doctor is in. Yes, boys and girls, the Hollywood marketing machine is running wild out there, and Amazon is out there touting a bunch of nonsense numbers that we don't actually have much to compare to except what they released last time, trying to claim that their Rings of Power Season 2 is a hit. That it's a success, that it's all so wonderful and it's so magical, and this $1 billion that we spent on this is not a waste. We promise, investors, we swear. That's what they're trying to put out there in the news. That's what they're trying to release to the videos. But boys and girls, if you actually look into the numbers, even given their own numbers, and you actually dig into them a little bit deeper, take half a moment to look past the headlines out there, you'll see that this is still a disastrous dumpster fire, even by their own admitting. And then, of course, because of the numbers that we actually have out there to compare things to properly, like Samba to Samba numbers. And boy, I can't wait for the Nielsen numbers to come in. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know the truth. Rings of Power, no matter how much they try to spin this, is a disastrous dumpster fire. When you decide to take the great J.R.R. Tolkien's work and turn it into an abomination and nothing more than bad Tumblr fan fiction, well, guess what? The fans reject it. And no matter how much they try to spin it, at the end of the day, we will know the truth. So we're going to check this article from the Wrap.com. Oh, actually, from the Hollywood Reporter over here, as well as the Wrap.com. It's got some wonderful extra information that shows us why we can compare and contrast these numbers coming out from Amazon now, also proving that it's still a disastrous dumpster fire. And then, of course, we have the absolute proof over here from Cosmic Book News as well. So we're getting all the juicy details, break down to you as to why this is just a bunch of nonsense spin and what the actual truth is about this $1 billion disaster that Jeff Bezos over there at Amazon has on his hands. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, because boys and girls, we are grinding, we are growing, we are trying to reach new heights out there, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Let us know, does this surprise you in any way, shape, or form that this kind of ridiculous spin is going on out there? Or is it just another day ending in a Y where Hollywood decides to try to make something look like it's a success when we actually all know the truth? So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Amazon touts the Rings of Power Season 2 ratings as strong, yet below the first season. The Lord of the Rings drama second season is a top 5 season for the streamer. I do like how the Rings of Power points out, or the Rings of Power, the Wrap points out on this one. Rings of Power Season 2 scores 40 million viewers in first 11 days. Amazon says, yes, because that's what Amazon's telling you by their own matrix. And why? Why would Amazon try to spin this? Why would anyone try to lie to you? Because just like any other company out there, Amazon has investors. And we all know that Jeff Bezos has spent $1 billion on this vanity project trying to make Lord of the Rings into his own personal Game of Thrones on his network. And now it's turned into a disastrous dumpster fire. That's why they try to do this. The Lord of the Rings drama's second season is a top 5 season for the streamer. Eek! That's really scary to think about if this is in your top 5. Like, how much of a disastrous dumpster fire of all the rest of the shows that you've wasted hundreds of millions of dollars and probably over $1 billion on all of those other vanity projects that have failed miserably as well, all because Jeff Bezos wants to hang out in Hollywood and not with all the nerds in Silicon Valley. Amazon released some viewership numbers for the second season of The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. The company says 40 million viewers worldwide have watched at least some of the first 3 new Rings of Power's episodes through its sophomore first 11 days. The company did not make clear, however, how much of the season or an episode those 40 million people viewed. That's right. Was it a moment? Was it a second? Were you like one of my friends out there in the chat who says his Amazon Prime account says it's been started on his account even though no one in his family or in his household has clicked on it? I know that's just anecdotal, but would it surprise anybody that a tech company can manipulate its own algorithm and its own numbers to make it look like on paper more people watched it, even if it was only for a half a second? And remember, last time on season 1 of Rings of Power, they put an automatic autoplay on a lot of the smart TVs out there. If you have a Fire TV, if you go on up there and you let it sit and you let the little ad sit there for long enough, it'll autoplay. What do you want to bet that counts as a view as well, according to Amazon's metrics? Because like they said here, they don't tell us if that was a second, a half a second, a minuscule of a second, or a whole episode, or all 3 episodes. And here's the other thing about that. 11 days it took them to get to 40 million views. And this is, like I said, like Hollywood Reporter's own headline says, this is below the first season, but Hollywood Reporter omits those numbers from those articles. But The Wrap does not. Because when season 1 first premiered in 2022, Prime Video reported that 25 million viewers watched the first 2 episodes within the first 24 hours of release. The first 24 hours, they got 25 million views. What's a view? Once again, we don't know. But by their own metric, in the first 24 hours, it got 25 million views. It took them 11 days to not even double that amount. Not even double that amount. And only 40 million views worldwide. So by their own metric, it's still a disastrous dumpster fire and far below season 1. Here's the statement directly from them. Also, this is a $715 million for a debut season. $715 million. Probably needs to be a top 5 contender for the service, if not top 2. You spent $1 billion on this. Between acquiring the rights and producing the show, this needs to be your number 1 series every single time it comes out. And yet it's not. So this is the spin directly from Amazon. Though the second weekend of launch, according to our key measures, the series is showing that we have another huge hit season on our hands, as 40 million viewers have already watched season 2. For how long, Jennifer? How long, Jennifer Salke? Because remember, this is Jennifer Salke. This is the head of Amazon MGM Studios. This is the one who's responsible for all the wokeifying, the representation, the diversity, and the inclusion that's made Rings of Power and so many other projects out there such a huge success. This is her. This is her spin on it. We've also observed that tens of millions of viewers have watched season 1 since early August. What's a view? We've seen an impressive amount of our Rings of Power customers coming from outside the U.S., which is a testament to the show's resonance with a global audience and the remarkable growth of Prime Video's customers worldwide. Are these the same people that last season you were offering like free, meals, like free Burger King meals just to watch one episode? Right? Is the same people worldwide that you were doing that, like down in Brazil and all of that other kind of stuff? But of course, the resonance with a global audience, because yes, it's all about a global audience, isn't it? So, what's the reality of Rings of Power Season 2? Well, we've already gone over it, but we'll remind everybody once again, just to make this a nice, full, complete picture of the kind of nonsense spin that Amazon and Jennifer Salke, the woke acolyte over there at Amazon MGM Studios, which is why we have no hope for a Warhammer 40K series at this point, especially with all the female custody stuff that's going on. Rings of Power Season 2 ratings premiere bombs, 50% drops in viewership. Because even the Hollywood Reporter admits that Amazon doesn't use the same metric as everybody else, whereas like number of views divided by minutes watched to give you an actual accurate rating. No, they just say, oh, you 40 million views, but they don't tell you what their view is. Well, we do have somebody that will tell you what a view is. Samba TV. Samba TV is a smart TV system out there that connects to all of the smart TVs out there that are Samba enabled, which is a vast majority of them out there. And it tells you what the viewing numbers are out there, right? 902,000 U.S. households watched the first episode of Rings of Power Season 2 on Amazon Prime Video over its first 5 days. Now, remember, last season, it premiered for 4 days. Samba TV measured it for 4 days because they released it on a Thursday. But once again, they add one more day to actually pad their numbers. Because remember, last year, they were announcing how many views it got in the first 24 hours. This time, they waited 11 days. Once again, trying to pad the numbers, trying to spin things. But 902,000, that doesn't sound too bad if it's just smart TVs, right? What was the first season? 1.8 million. It lost half. It lost half. And if you want to just do some general speculation based on reviews from episode 1 to episode 2 over there on like Metacritic and some of the rest of those companies out there, it lost half its viewership from episode 1 to episode 3 because there's 40% less people reviewing it on episode 2 and there was even less people reviewing it on episode 3. It worked out to over half of their viewership just in reviews they lost from episode 1 to episode 3. Now that's just kind of anecdotal. It's not necessarily a real solid number, but even right here, Samba TV doesn't even talk about episode 2 and episode 3. They only talk about episode 1 because I bet you dollars to donuts the numbers out there show a sharp decline after the first episode. And what do you want to bet? Most of those people will not go back to finish this series just like happened in season 1. Because if you remember correctly, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Hollywood's insiders, Hollywood's acolyte legacy media admitted that Rings of Power from episode 1 to the last episode lost over 60% of its viewership. Good job, Jeff Bezos. Aren't you proud you hired Jennifer Sulky? Isn't she just making you such a success in Hollywood out there? No. Your vanity project, Jeff Bezos, that you decided to completely and thoroughly ignore and allow some crazy woke woman, Jennifer Sulky, to run your asylum over there, has turned it into a disastrous dumpster fire because instead of concentrating on respect for Tolkien, respect for his fans, respect for the lore, and maybe adapting the source material in a way that would be pleasing to the fans and actually be accurate, you decided to let Jennifer Sulky and all the rest of her ilk over there, and McCain and Pay and all the rest of those idiots out there that'll do anything for a paycheck, right? You decided to allow them to take that and bastardize Tolkien's lore. You wasted $1 billion on this vanity project. And no matter how much you try to spin it, Jennifer Sulky, no matter how much you try to lie to your investors and try to convince them this is a success, all it takes is somebody like me or a million other much better, more talented people at doing this job than I am out there to take 2 seconds to look past the headlines, to look past the spin, and find out what is truly going on. And if you think somebody who does not have a financial interest, but just an absolute love and respect for the great work of Professor J.R.R. Tolkien, the Roman Catholic, then imagine what all of those people that have billions of dollars invested in your company are doing with that exact same information. Spin it all you want. You might be able to fool some, but at the end of the day, we know Rings of Power Season 2 is even worse of a disastrous dumpster fire and will waste more of $1 billion out there, all because you disrespected the fans, you disrespected Tolkien, and at the end of the day, you put agenda over good storytelling. Even worse than all of that. And guess what? The old adage, go woke, go broke, exists for a reason. Good job, Jennifer Sulky. Good job, Jeff Bezos. You would have been better off live streaming, setting $1 billion on fire, and you would have gotten more views than this absolute dumpster fire that you try to claim is a Lord of the Rings project, The Rings of Power Season 2. You get exactly what you deserve.